the thing I like to do is if I have the relationships that I'm building, I want to keep using those same people.
Episode 10.
This is great. Episode 10.
This is Todd Wade.
And I'm Joe Mathis with Rumble Drum.
Today we're going to talk
Joe
about
and Todd Show.
choosing entertainment for events.
I love this. I absolutely
This
love
is right up. Well, it's always right up your alley.
everything's
but,
right. Yeah.
no, entertainment is a big deal for you.
I grew up around the entertainment industry, and I think that that gives me a unique perspective as an event planner because I know both sides, and I know what it's like to be on the stage. I know what it's like to be backstage, front of house, all that. And so I definitely think I have a pretty unique perspective, which makes it pretty good. So,
Yeah.
And you like entertainment. You like to be entertained
I do like
all
entertainment.
the time
Yeah.
and have lots of opinions. So that should be good. So,
Yeah, I do.
yeah.
I love music and watching bands and good comedian.
You have probably actually brought back my love for music in a lot of ways.
Oh, that's cool.
Because you do have such a variety that I'd kind of lost for a while. So it's kind of fun to be back.
Yeah, I like just about all kinds of music.
Yeah, I love that.
That's cool.
Well, so I think the question is,
How do you find entertainment, Joe? That's the question.
It's going to be asking me, huh? Well,
Where do you start?
I think the first thing is to figure out what you want, what you need. Is that a speaker? Is it a musician? Is it a music group? Is it a single musician? Kind of what your budget is.
Entertainment.
Absolutely. Right? Yeah, absolutely. And so I think one of the first things to do is just kind of understand your sources. There's lots of places you can get entertainment. For me, for example, I'm in around a lot of musicians all the time. I have connections of musicians across the United States. So a lot of times it's easy for me to find a local musician or to find somebody who's maybe on the rise, and especially in a local situation, whether that be Chicago or Dallas or Tulsa or Denver or wherever. I could typically find someone locally through word of mouth because of just the people I've known through the years. So that's always a start for some people. Is local people. I also think to really look at the professional is to really think about the role of the booking agents. So that can be a speakers bureau, that can be a booking agent in a band group sort of thing, or it might be another source where you can get something online. Gig masters and some other stuff that kind of happens that's pretty good. So
the main people we've worked with recently is Box Talent.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's kind of our go-to source, especially for events around here.
Yeah, they do.
Trying to find bands for
they do
kind of thing,
Oklahoma and Texas very, very well. They'll also branch out and go wherever we want them to go, which is pretty great. And they have a really solid reputation, many, many years. Tried and true. A lot of people love them and know them.
I keep trying to find their limits.
Yeah, they don't have limits.
There
are no
huge.
limits for Box.
They're big.
Yeah, they'll do anything.
And they can do anything, right?
And I think, yeah, absolutely. And I think on a more national or international level, William Morris Agency is also probably our go-to people. With William Morris Agency, it can be very intimidating. You typically have one. I think they call them agents, maybe, that's assigned to you, and then you do all of those. That person does all your events. And
who have you worked
sometimes
with?
Sometimes it's worked. Well, the person I worked with the most is no longer there, so we won't talk about that.
No, I mean, like what event? What kind of event did you?
So William Morris a lot. We will definitely use for name acts. So for example, if you're trying to get a country act, if you're trying to get Blake Shelton or Little Big Town or Band Perry or something like that, going through William Morris is always the best shot. They're really one of the world leaders in entertainment booking, and just they're amazing. And so even if I was going to get a saxophone player like Kenny G or someone like that, then probably go through William Morris, and they could at least direct us. The other advantage that we sometimes have that not everyone has is I will call people and say, hey, do you know somebody? So whether, I have a friend who books a ton of stuff for arenas and that sort of thing. And And typically I can call him and say, hey, do you know how to get a hold of these people? And he will direct me to the right,
tell you who
to
the
the right
agent
agents.
is
Yeah.
or something.
And that's always super, super helpful.
And we'll get to this here in a minute, but the entertainment world is actually pretty small.
It's very, very
Everybody
small.
knows everybody.
And I think that's...
And everybody talks.
That's what I was trying to say. Big gossips too. And I think that's one of the things that if I could say one thing to event planners everywhere, is entertainment world is so small. They all know each other. They all talk. And so invariably, for example, if you're making an offer to an entertainer and you're saying, hey, I'm ABC company, we have a corporate event, we want to bring in, Elton John or whatever, and you make this offer, and you may have a huge offer. You may say, I'm willing to pay $1 million to have this artist be there, and you're going to think, oh yeah, no problem at all. And what you need to know is that when you hang up that phone or you send that email, whatever, immediately they begin tracing down who you are, what you're about, who was your last entertainers, what kind of experience did they have. They'll call them. If that was someone last year, then they're going to call them and say, hey, Beyonce or whatever, how did it go? And obviously not the entertainment talent probably as much as the technical crew and the tour manager, booking manager, all those. And what was it like?
Guy, the sound guy.
Yeah, exactly. And what was it like? And we get those same calls of, hey, I know you used this person last year. What was that like? And what was it about? And how'd it go? And I have a friend in Vancouver who texted one day. It's like, hey, I saw you just did an event last year with Bernadette Peters. How'd that go? And I'm like, oh yeah, man, that was awesome. And here's what you need to look out for. And she was great and just one of the best entertainers ever. And so that helped him to know, hey, we're bringing her to town. This is what we kind of need to know. He also kind of needed to know a price range. And that's one of the tacky things that happens is I work really hard not to say those things, but I end up kind of saying a range like, hey, we got her for this amount, but I think it's because of this and this and this. And so I'm protecting her a little bit. Because I don't want to say, hey, we got a steal, you can get a steal too. So we probably should talk about making the offers and what that looks like too. Because I think
I think that's on our list at the end. You want to talk about like speakers bureaus?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's another kind of category of entertainment. You don't always think about them as entertainment, but I mean they really are. It's a huge entertainment value of an evening as a speaker.
Absolutely. And again, William Morris has a tremendous speakers bureau side of their organization, which is pretty amazing.
I didn't realize that.
We use a lot Red Propeller, and they're amazing. They're out of Dallas, Chicago, and Kansas City. It's kind of their offices, I think.
Sounds right.
And
it seems like they might have one more office, but we've been to a couple of their speakers bureau showcase.
Yeah,
speakers showcase.
And I think one of the things that is really good with Red Propeller is they have such a variety of people. And a lot of times we can call them Susan's the owner. You can call your agent, whoever that is with them, their company. And ours is Mike. And we can call him and say, hey, we have a medical event that we want to do. We need a speaker who maybe talks about a medical tragedy, or, hey, we need someone who, had an experience as a rock climber, and they can find him and they can get him to us. And, or, we've done things like, hey, we need someone conservative, or we need someone who is going to speak to a little broader audience, or we need someone who's going to speak to a young audience that has a compelling story, and we just need it for 20 minutes, or we just need it for 30 minutes. Give me someone in our price range. And a lot of times they'll come back with 3 or 4 ideas, and it's always really, really good stuff. So definitely that.
So why would you do a booking agent rather than finding them yourself and bringing them in? I mean, they'd be cheaper if you bring them in yourself, right?
Yeah. Well,
but
yes, but no, but whatever. I think one of the tendencies
we
have
what you pay for
a lot of times as event planners, as an event organizer, is you go online, especially these days, where you can type in a name and you can think, oh, wow, they're represented by 65 people. Well, that's not always true. And I think the thing I like to do is if I have the relationships that I'm building, I want to keep using those same people. So, for example, we talked about Box Talent. Their talent agency, if I'm going to book someone bigger, they're willing to do that for me, and they understand me. They understand our organization. They understand what we're looking for. They know where our weaknesses are. They know that They know where our hotspots are, and it just becomes a great advantage. And I think too, Todd, you mentioned just the idea of that they're working on entertainment while we're doing everything else.
Yeah.
And
they're
I think
doing
that's
what they're good at.
Yeah, I think that's important too.
And they do it all day long, every day.
Yeah, absolutely. We had an incident a number of years ago now. One of the things I'm going to write about my book at the end of my life, but about 1:00 on the day of the show, we got our agent called and said, "Hey, your talent's not coming tonight. There's been a accident on the highway and he can't get to the airport." And it was kind of interesting because we had ended up sort of self-booking in a sort of interesting long story. But anyway, we became the ones who were responsible for getting a plane for him. We ended up making it all happen. And it really kind of took away some of our prep time on the event. And so there again, if I could have had an agent at that point who was dealing with that crisis or bringing me another person or whatever, hey, your person's not available. He's coming from California, but I've got someone in Houston or I've got someone, close by that can come and be here for your event tonight. That's going to be a comparable trade out. So they also handle.
So it's insurance, really.
Yeah, really.
I mean, if something were to happen, they've got your back.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're going to make sure someone gets there and entertains your crowd.
Absolutely.
Even if it's a substitute.
And I think sometimes too, they handle the things I don't always think about. One of the things that trips me up a lot of times is if I have to pay royalties for something. So a lot of times if there's a certain song you want to start a conference with or something, and maybe there's a live performance
legalities.
Yeah, they can
unions.
They can
handle unions,
musicians union, all that, and they can negotiate that, figure that out, and at least help me to know what maybe added expense is going to happen.
And again, it's
like that.
It's a little more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Like how much more expensive would it be?
Well,
I know it's
some people.
It's a hard question.
Yeah, some people say it's double. Some people say to use an agent
Really?
is double.
Okay.
And I want to dispel that rumor. I wish that were true. In some cases, that is right.
You wish it were not true.
Wish it were not true. Yeah. But in some cases, I know that's definitely the case. But again, it's so worth it. It's just so worth it.
That peace of mind. And
the only time I would say don't go with a agency is if you already have that relationship with the entertainer, especially if it's like a relative or a close friend, or you work with them a lot.
Well, like for a wedding or something. I mean,
exactly.
You got cousin Fred or whatever who's going to play the piano. You're not going to book them through an agent.
But then you are going to put yourself in that role of that agent. So you're going to have to figure out, all those things. Do they have housing?
That's
are they
you
meals?
still have to take on that responsibility of taking care of them, getting them there, making sure they've got their
equipment
and and clothing and a place to stay and food, and you kind of take on that role rather than the agent. So it's something to think
definitely
hard
added
about.
responsibility. Yeah. Definitely added responsibility. And we found that even if it's a family member who is the relative of a A-lister entertainer, that even they don't always understand all that's involved. And so
that's a good point.
We've asked for some managers to get involved just to kind of help us through that. So,
and you still want a contract?
Yeah, absolutely.
So another place we are finding some of our talent is through showcases, which I mentioned the speaker showcase, but we also, like when we go to a special event, we'll listen to Michael Cervelli's hot list of his, however many it is, 50 top 50 or top 100
sometimes.
Anyway, he brings out, kind of rolls out all these the best of the entertainment for the year, event entertainment, and
Michael Cervelli is one of my personal heroes. I just think he has done so many things right in our field in the event industry. He leads the way. He's such a positive, excited, enthusiastic guy.
I love how he presents it, though. Like it's a show in itself.
Absolutely.
The way he presents all the different acts, and like some of the people will actually be there. Sometimes he'll just do a video clip of them doing their performance or whatever, and it's really entertaining.
I had a year one time that I could not make it to the special event because I had another event going on during the special event, and I actually flew to California for the hot list and
It's
flew
worth
back.
it. I would
The
say it's
next
probably
morning.
worth it.
It was absolutely worth it. It was
We
worth
didn't end up
every-
getting to do it this
every
year
penny.
just
Yeah.
because of the virus going around, but
Yeah, that was our goal.
We skipped it.
The other thing is there's a lot of festivals where you can see a variety of entertainers. You can see a lot of people up and coming. Again, I think a lot of times for our budgets, our corporate clients, there's always the excitement of someone coming up and you're about to become famous, or someone who's kind of coming down.
Yeah, you want to catch them either on the way up or on the way down.
That's exactly
kinda.
right. And I think that's always a good spot, especially for a lot of budgets. And there's organizations like South by Southwest, which is typically in Austin, and just a great place to really see people and get to know people and hear their variety and what they're about and learn how easy they are to work with and all that sort of thing. And so really encourage you to explore those places, just be on the lookout, have your ear to the ground of, talking to people. Hey, what's the best entertainer you've had this year? And we'll do that even with caterers. Hey, have you heard anybody good? Have you been to any weddings that you really like the band or whatever? It's always good stuff. So
yeah, and that's ties back to networking and knowing people in your industry. So.
and just staying up on what's current, what's fun and different. I think that's we do a lot of. I love Broadway, and so I think about even
That's an understatement.
Yeah, it's an understatement. Being aware of like the year that Dear Evan Hansen came out, and we were able to use that song in an event. I think it was kind of a fun thing. No one had heard of it, and then suddenly they kind of knew all about it. I think the next thing to kind of think about is that ask of when you're making an offer and you're making that ask of what you want to do, and I think again that's where it's really helpful to have that speakers bureau, that agency, that booking agent to walk through with you what that looks like. So sometimes your offer may have more than just money attached to it. So, for example, we did a corporate event one time where we were able to say to them, "Hey, here's our offer, but additionally, we can provide you with a private plane. We can provide you with a private jet because the organizer of our event will fly wherever you are, pick you up, and take you there." We also said, "Hey, we will give you the use of this home and this luxury vacation home for 3 times this year, 3 weeks this year." And so suddenly our offer became a lot sweeter because of what we could do.
So you're getting a little creative with your offer.
Exactly.
Then. It's not just,
hey, here's $1.
Here's $10,000.
Right, or $50,000.
Yeah, 50,000
exactly.
or whatever.
So making that offer, I think, and being creative with how that's done so that when you give it to them, explain what you're doing it for. Is it for a cause? Is it for a purpose? Is it because the CEO loves you? Whatever it is, put some personality into it.
That's good.
One of the things I think that we get into a lot as event planners is, hey, we had this last year with, oh yeah, we know this guy whose brother's sister-in-law housekeeper used to work for them, and they can go in and get us a good deal. Yeah. And invariably, as event planners, we have to chase some of those down. You have to try to figure it out. But unfortunately, almost all of those are pretty dead ends, unless it just happens to be the right thing. And so sometimes you can do that even with you're making an offer. So if you're going to an agent and you can say, "Hey, by the way, this is how we know this person," you might tell them that that's part of why we want them is because I think their housekeeper's sister-in-law's brother is a good friend of our client or whatever the case is. And it's kind of funny that sometimes that'll work and they'll go, "Oh yeah, we can do that." One of the offers we did one time for a speaker was we could get him there and get him home all in one day. And that was real appealing. And while he was there, we had a hotel suite for him. He could go and freshen up and change clothes. Yeah. But we made it really clear we can get you a direct flight in and direct flight out. And of course, that was
Same day.
private jet.
Yeah.
But we're willing to figure that out and make that happen. And that involved 2 pilots, for example. So at first it felt like obstacles, but then you start working and it's like, oh yeah, we can figure this out. So that was a great day.
So we wanted to talk about some of the different types of entertainment that we've worked with. Obviously, there's music and singers and bands, and And then we talked about speakers as well. But there's a whole variety of entertainment that you've done or you've provided or arranged, managed, whatever, planned for people.
When you work a lot in Oklahoma, Texas, and Kansas, you tend to do a lot of rope twirling,
rope tricks,
horseback riders.
It seems like everyone asks for that, though.
Yeah,
it's very popular.
A lot of Western themes, and so done a lot of that. I personally love anything that's kind of a really cool welcome, surprise, an element of, oh wow, hadn't expected that. And so, we did a Western event one time. We had young ladies on horseback holding the flags with the logos on.
Kind of the rodeo
very,
thing.
Very inexpensive thing to do, but to drive in, get ready to park and valet or whatever, and see the horseback was really exciting.
Oh, so they're outside.
Yeah, and it was
riding around.
$200. It wasn't that big a deal. And
that's cool.
Getting the flags made was the harder part. We did a pitch for an idea one time that I've always loved. It was a major league basketball team was going to move into the city, and we're trying to do a pitch for how to welcome their entourage and that sort of thing. And our pitch was, my excitement was to do.
I love this idea.
To do basketball players and take like college and high school, a whole variety of basketball players, put them all in the matching jerseys, even a hey, welcome to our city jersey or whatever, and have them dribbling like a drum roll as the bus, the limo unloaded the people out in front of the building. And so it'd be just a fast, 30-second thing. We've done lots of.
Okay, if anyone ever uses this idea, you got to tell us.
Yeah, you got to tell us. I just think that's so cool.
Let me hear it.
Another idea we suggested that was not used. These are the great ideas that someone should have used. The other one was CVB was doing a pitch for a race, a very popular major race. And what needed to happen, what I think should have happened, was when they arrived in town, there needed to be the spectators at the end of a race. So if you think about the people cheering them on, go run, you're almost there, and then run through the finish line as they arrive. I just think that would have been really cool. Obviously, we use models a lot. I think that's always a fun thing. We've done the table
for fashion
with the person
shows
inside.
or live mannequins and
live mannequins are always.
Oh yeah,
cool.
and then the table lady with the
Yep,
dress,
absolutely.
serving drinks off of her dress.
Just fun stuff. Flash mobs. I don't think they'll ever get old. I just be creative with them.
Yeah.
Games and
marching bands.
Marching bands
Those
are
fun.
awesome. And again, I think it's the excitement, the surprise of wow, wouldn't have thought about that. One of the things we liked last year, we went to an event and they did it was a special event, and they had a guy that was engraving champagne glasses.
Oh yeah,
you got to keep your glass. I did not do that because I didn't want to take it home. But
there were several different kind of craftsmen people doing special take-home things that were pretty cool.
Yeah, lots of fun stuff.
And then of course comedians. One of our favorites is Devin Henderson. Hopefully we'll have him on the show here soon and talk to him about what he does. He's pretty funny. Magic, again, he's a magician, and
he's also a great MC. He just really keeps the whole event together. We've used him that way a couple times. I love that.
Easy on the stage, really comfortable on the stage. So live auctions can actually be entertaining. I never really thought of them as entertainment. I thought of them originally as more just a way to raise money, but it really is. I mean, a lot of people just go to an event just to watch the live auction happen.
I grew up with my dad was an auctioneer,
Creates some excitement.
And I saw it as a business. And I think to make that turn in my mind that my dad was an entertainer, and he was an entertainer first and an auctioneer second. And I think to finally realize that many years later, and to figure out that, wow, this is what he did, and then to transfer that to the whole environment of hey, it's an event, it's a event that is raising money for somebody, or even a corporate event that maybe has a quick auction to sell something funny, and then give that money to charity or something like that. And there's a lot of engagement with that. Definitely in games, all that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So I want to move to how to convince your client of a certain kind of entertainment, because I think that becomes the hard part. So give us some ideas. What's some ideas of just helping our clients grab the vision.
How do you sell? Like you have an idea in your head. How do you sell it to them? I think bringing a piece of that entertainment to the client and helping them see it. Like, we did this skit recently. You wrote a little skit for a college, and it was really inspirational, I thought. And we had 4 young people just actually come to the meeting with the client and do a demonstration of the skit that we wanted to do for this event. And it just blew their mind away. We surprised them with it, and we had the whole thing set up ahead of time, and it just blew them away, and they loved it. They were sold. And I think just bring them a piece, even if it's just a small piece of what you want to do live, is really effective.
That's a client that it's really fun in our pitches to surprise them. And it's always interesting to me that we can get away with doing something unusual at their event. And I think it's one of those times that a lot of times if we were talking about it and giving them the idea on paper, it wouldn't fly.
It's much harder to sell.
So the same client, we did pie and milk and pie.
Mm-hmm.
We were trying to create this down home event a couple of years ago. It's kind of like this grandma's house sort of thing. And we had this whole idea going, and
they still talk about that.
And they do. It's hilarious.
Right.
And we went and bought the milk in the real milk jugs,
Mm-hmm.
and served it that morning with homemade pie from some restaurant in town, and I think it's the same thing. And it just really grabbed them, and they transitioned. So I think however you can pitch to that client that it makes sense. They can really picture, they can see what that's like. And a lot of times you work with your entertainers and you say, hey, I want to do this. I've got an unusual idea. The client's not typically going to jump off on this. How do we do it? And then they might say, hey, I've got a YouTube video that's the exact same client. You can just show that. Or maybe they'll say,
which works. It's not quite as good, obviously, but you're not going to be able to get a band in front of your client always.
But
sometimes you can take them to a concert.
Yeah,
that's
a great idea.
A lot of times they'll give you a free ticket to come and see them if you're going to book them. They'll give you a chance to meet the team and the production team and all that.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I think the main thing I want to get across is just to use that relationship with your entertainer to say, how can I pitch this to the client? How will they buy it? They want to work too. So they're going to help you be creative. And sometimes they will risk and go and do a 3-minute version of what they're going to do. So that's a possibility.
So last thing we want to talk about is taking care of your entertainment. And it's so important. Like we were talking earlier, the entertainment world's a very small world. Everybody talks, and so it's just really important that you want to meet your entertainers before the event. If, like we were saying, go see them at a concert, meet them backstage, meet their managers and everybody, the tour manager, if you can, and just develop that relationship. That's just so valuable. Understanding how they work and what they like, what they want, and then just
follow their writers. Like if they have a writer, ask for their writer, and then follow it. Do what it says, and if it becomes obstacle or hard or difficult, talk with them and make sure hey, do you really need this many candy bars or this much alcohol or whatever? But
or 7 types of peanut butter.
Exactly. Yep. Or just check with them and see if it becomes too difficult. But I found that meeting their writer goes so far.
Yeah. And then of course there's security and making sure their hotel rooms are all set up, even giving them a little gift when they arrive in the hotel room or at the concert. Making sure they've got a good place to get dressed and we've got a green room to relax in, and all those things go a long ways to making them feel like they're being taken care of and you appreciate them being there.
I think one of the things that we forget is, especially celebrities, they're all people, and they want to be treated well. They want to feel like they're taken care of. A swag bag goes a long ways, and to do something that's unusual. And I've ended up with them the next day,
unopened
in hotel rooms. And you got to go it probably still accomplished a lot of what it was intended to do, even if it wasn't opened. It still gave that idea that, hey,
You're thinking about
I'm thinking about it. It matters. So don't get hung up on that.
If you didn't do it, they would probably notice.
Right. That's exactly right. And I've had my feelings hurt a couple of times because they didn't open my stuff. But yeah, and definitely recommend them to others. And if there's an opportunity to feedback and they want feedback, be gracious with it and thoughtful and all of that too. So this has been cool.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things like entertainment. We have enough to talk about, but
Yeah, we could probably do a couple episodes on this.
Probably go on. So we would love to hear from you and hear what your struggles are with entertainment or any subjects with the events and planning events, what that's like. We're learning too. If you've got great ideas, send them to us. Yeah. Our website, rumbledrum.com. There's a podcast way on there. There's also a contact us. We'd love for you to just communicate with us. Email us, Todd at rumbledrum.net, Joe.
Hey.
.com.
Our new website design is live as of today, right?
It is live. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Still a few tweaks.
Yeah.
But I added the phone. We just had a 9-digit phone number up there, and I went ahead and made it 10-digit today with a quick phone call. Like, hey, I think we're missing a number. But
oh.
anyway. So
Todd at rumbledrum.com, Joe at rumbledrum.com.
Please
email us.
Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, like us, subscribe to us.
YouTube, iTunes, anywhere you get your podcasts.
Just means a lot to us. So thank you. Next week, it's going to be really cool.
Is it?
Yeah.
What's it going to be? Are you going to tell them?
Tune in.
You have to wait to find out.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Have a great week.